Hello everybody, it's Ronnie with Whip and Chain. I work with Maggie and Lauren to bring you beautiful, fun crochet tutorials. And we have this dress that's inspired by Taylor Swift. And people are starting to put out videos on it. But the pattern that I have, and I'm making this clear right now, not my pattern. It was a free pattern. No, not mine. Okay. Pattern's very hard to read, so that's why I think it's a good idea that I do a tutorial on it. Plus, I want to go over some things. Now, if you're going to do this pattern the way the colors in the dress were, they are 2 rows of the purple, then you rotate the brown, and I did ivory, brown, so it's 5 rows. So it's, you start with the brown, then you go to ivory, brown, ivory, brown, and then you have 4 rows of the orangest peach. It is 4th of July, so if you hear the fireworks in the background and they're calling for storms, I do apologize. Trying to get this video out so you guys can do this. So it's 11 row repeat. So it's 2 purple, violet, whatever color, then it's the brown, ivory, brown, ivory, brown, then the 4 rows of the peach. Now, no matter what size you're making in this, you just stick with this pattern and you stop on the row that you're supposed to stop. Okay. Now I have all my pieces made, so I am going to do a swatch on the front panel, swatch on the back panel, and obviously the arms to show you how to do the arm pieces, but I'm not going to do the full. And this is also, I am going to strongly recommend that you block this. If you're going to put all this time and energy into making this dress, block it. Please block it. It's not going to lay right. It's not going to sit right. It's not going to look as pristine if you choose not to block it. And you need to block it in pieces before you assemble it. Okay? All right, so I want to show you what I personally used. I did not have time to get the Hobby Lobby, which makes me sad, but it is what it is. So I ended up using loops and threads. So I used lavender. I used peach pink. I used off-white. And I used coffee. Those are the 4 colors that I specifically chose for me. Now the pattern does call for a 4mm crochet hook. I personally opted to use a 4.5 because I was nervous. I'm really not good at sizing clothing yet for myself. So after I assemble this dress, I think it's going to be too big. I would be more than happy to do a raffle of all our followers that are interested in going in on the raffle. And I'll talk to Maggie about it. We'll pick a name and I'll send it to you. You can have it. It's not a dress that I'm going to personally wear. In my mid-50s, it's not for me, so to speak. But it is a beautiful dress. So if you want to do the exact sizing, I do recommend a 4mm crochet hook. Now, let's talk about the yarn usage that I used. So I used if I can even get to it, peach rose, lavender, peach rose, and white. So I used almost a whole skein of the coffee. I used 1.5 skeins of the off-white. I used, where's my other peach? I used almost 2.5 of the peach rose. Not quite, almost. I used, coffee. Wait a minute. A little over 1 of the white, 1.5 of the brown, almost 3 of the peach and almost 2 of the purple. That, and you saw you saw what yarn I used. I showed you the skein, so you can, I'm not good with telling people, and I went for a size medium, but again, I used a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook instead of a 4 millimeter. So my suggestion is always have that 1 extra skein to cover you than not have it, especially when you're dealing with dye lots. That's my recommendation. You do what makes you happy. That's what I did. So now we're going to dive into, I am not going to change colors while I'm showing you how to do this. And again, I'm not going to do a swatch, but let me get my notes. You don't need to see all my scribble, do you? I don't think so. All right. So it doesn't matter if you're making a small, a medium, or a large. A small is like a 10, 12. Yeah, 10, 12. Medium is like a 14, 16. And then a large is like an 18, maybe 20, not quite, but somewhere around there. Okay. But now again, if you need larger, you can up your crochet hook like I did. All right, so no matter what size you're building, we're going to be working on the front panel. No matter what size you're making, you have to chain 138. Now this is the length of the dress. Now if you choose, you want the dress longer, just keep adding in multiples of 4. If you want it shorter, chain 138 and take off multiples of 4. Okay? Do you understand? So do your chain of 138. Look at the length. If you want it longer, add 4 and 4 and 4 and 4 and 4 till you get the length that you want. If you want it shorter, take away 4 and 4 and 4 and 4 to get, again, the length that you want. Okay? So, like I said, I am going to do a swatch. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 14, 15, 16. I apologize. Hold on. I apologize for that barking. It is the 4th of July here, and my one dog, the fireworks scare her, so please forgive me for that. I can't control when they're gonna bark. All right, like I said, I did a swatch, just a swatch, but do your chain like we talked about. Now the way you start, 6 chains, the 6th chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go in there and you do a cluster of 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then you chain 1. And then you skip 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you do another cluster of 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then chain 1. You skip 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you do another cluster. 1, 2, 3. Chain 1. Skip 3. 1, 2, 3. And a cluster. And this is what you keep doing for the whole row, the whole chain. Skip 3. know watching me crochet a swatch sometimes can be boring because I am a slow crocheter, but I want to do this to make sure that the people that need to watch can understand what I'm doing. 1, 2, 3. And if you understand it, you can always fast forward. And 3. Chain 1, skip 3, and then you go into that very last stitch. Now, if you did the chain of 138, you will have 34 clusters. You will have 34 of these clusters. And again, like I said, I'm just doing a swatch. Forgive me with drinking. So now, I'm going to show you how to do the next row. You turn, you chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, all you're going to do is go into these chain 1s and do your clusters. So it's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, and you go into the chain 1 area. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1. You go in there, chain 1 area. So this is what you keep doing. Okay. Chain 1. Cluster. And remember, this pattern I'm showing you right now is for the front of the dress. Chain 1. 1, 2, and 3. You hear the fireworks in the background? It's not even dark here yet, and our people are going crazy. I think because they're calling for storms tonight. Chain 1. And you're always going to just be going into those chain 1 areas. Now, for your last piece, you chain 1 and you go into this space right here. That last space. 1. And you do your cluster. Okay? Turn and you just chain 4, 2, 3, and 4. And then you go back in. So you're going to keep doing that back and forth. Now, if you're choosing to make a size small, you need 13 of these rows. So a size small, I want you to stop when you get 13 rows. If you're making a medium, do 15 rows. After you do 15 rows, you stop. If you're opting to make a large, do 17 rows. Now again, remember, if you did the chain 138, your clusters are going to be 34. All right, so again, if you're making a small, you need 15 rows, and then you stop. I mean, small, 13 rows. Sorry, 13 rows if you're making a small. 15 rows if you're making a medium. 17 rows if you're making a large. All right, so now you need 2 rows of 30 clusters, and this is for all sizes. So I'm going to pretend, how many clusters I got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I am going to leave 4 clusters so you can see what I'm talking about. All right. 4. All right. So I did my chain 4. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want you to crochet your next row, everybody, but I only crochet 30 clusters, not 34. Don't go all the way to the end. Crochet 30 clusters. I'm going to just crochet 4 because mine's a swatch. So it's 1. You do your clusters normal, you do your 3, and then you chain 1. One more. Now, after you do your 30 clusters, in your next stitch here, your next chain 1, I want you to go in there. Oh, chain 1. I want you to go in there and just do 1 double crochet. That's it. No more. Just 1 double crochet. All right. Good. All right. So then I want you to turn. I want you to chain 4, 2, 3, and 4. Then you go, not in this one here, you go into the next, and you do a cluster, 2, and 3, and chain 1. So make sure you do again 30 clusters. Chain 1. So make sure you have 2 rows. This is for all sizes. You have 2 rows of 30 clusters. Keep your count good. Count is very important on this, okay? So after you did your first initial set of rows, whether it was 13, 15, or 17, now we did 2 rows of just 30. Okay? And if you look, it's the same count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? Which is supposed to be my 2 rows of 30. All right. Now, do your chain 4. 2, 3, and 4. Now, do a row of only 29 clusters. I know it's a little confusing, but just follow. Trust me, trust the process. So instead of me doing 4, I'm going to do 3 because it's a swatch. But you do 29 clusters. And again, this is for all sizes. Okay? So after you do your 29 clusters, you chain 1, and then again you put a double crochet in that chain. This is giving you a swoop of your neckline. That was the whole point. Okay, so then you turn your work, you chain 4, 2, 3, and 4. You go into your first chain 1 down here, not this one right underneath, and then you do another row of 29 clusters, and 3, chain 1, you turn, you chain 4, and again you do another row of your 29 clusters. and 3, chain 1, and you now in this you do put your cluster, because now we don't want that neckline to go down any further, and to keep your count you need to do that. Okay, so if you see, here's the strap part and it's just curving down. Isn't that pretty how that works? Now, no matter what size you are, you need to do 16 rows of 29 clusters. So think about it. You did a row here with me already, and you did 2. So you already did 2 rows. You need a total of 16 rows of 29 clusters. All right? And then I'll meet you back. Okay. So now you should have your 16 rows done. Now what you're going to do is you're going to turn your work. Chain 4, 2, 3, and 4. Now let's go down. It is technically another row of 29, but let me show you what you do in your last one. So we're doing a cluster, 2 and 3, chain 1. You go all the way down, do your 29 clusters, but before you end it, in your last one, do a cluster. You should be at the bottom of your shirt. 2 and 3. Chain 1 and put a double crochet in. All right, so you did your cluster, you chain 1 and a double crochet. All right, so now technically it's 17 rows of 29, but just follow with me, okay? Now, what you're going to do is you're going to chain 4, 2, 3, and 4. And in this chain 1 area, put a cluster. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1 and put another cluster in your normal area. And then just work all the way up. This will land you at 30 clusters. Chain 1 and cluster. It's going to look weird. You don't think it's not going to work, it's not going to work, but when you block it, it absolutely guaranteed will work. No questions asked. So instead of 29 clusters, you're going to have 30. All right. And 3. I know, it feels weird, but trust me, it works. Okay? So now, we're going to turn our work, chain 4, 2, 3, and 4. Now do a row of your 30 clusters. So you'll have another row of 30. Chain 1, and just follow the whole sync of your normal pattern. But make sure you keep your count. Chain 1, open here, 1, 2, and 3. Make sure you have 30. So that is technically 2 rows of 30 clusters. So now what we're going to do, we're going to turn our work, chain your 4, 2, 3, and 4, and cluster like normal, going all the way up, 2 and 3. So when you reach the top now, we're not done. Now chain 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay? 6. Okay. So after you chain your 15, go into 6th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and do a cluster. Chain 1, skip your 3, and the 4th one, do a cluster. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, skip 3, do a cluster. Chain 1, do a cluster. Did I do that right? Yeah. Do a cluster. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, do a cluster. Chain 1, and just follow your normal cluster pattern all the way down. Chain 1, and cluster. Now you're back to your normal of your 34 clusters, which I was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6, 7. I did something wrong. Oh, I know. I know what I did. I just spilled my drink. You know how I said go into the 6th? It's not your 6th. It's your 4th. Right? 15 rows. I'm going to check that. I'll be right back. Okay, I had to go back. You did your chain of 15. I made a mess. I spilled my drink. Anyway, you did your chain of 15. But instead of going into the 6th, forgive my mess, you go into the 5th chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not the 6th. The 5th chain, and do your cluster. 1, 2, and 3. But you do your normal. You do your cluster, chain 1, skip 3, and do a cluster. Chain 1, skip 3, do your cluster. Skip 1, and do your cluster. There we go. And 3. Chain 1, and then you do your normal, get back into it. I apologize for that error, guys. I am human. Sometimes my notes aren't as detailed as I think, and I think, oh, I'll remember. I don't remember stuff sometimes. But there we go. So it's chain 15, and you go into your 5th chain. So now you're back at your 34 clusters. And like you did on this side, whether you did 13, 15, or 17, you need 13, 15, or 17 on that side. Now, like I said, it looks odd down here. This is why you need the block. Let me show you. So, like I said, you do your 13, 15, or 17 rows, and that is the front piece. Now, let me see, where's my front piece? Here she is. Look how beautiful this is. That's what it looks like. It comes down, over, and then come back up. And then the bottom, because I blocked it, once we put the edging on, you don't even know that we did that increase. Can't even see it, which is great. But that is how we do the front panel. So now, the next one, we're going to do the arms. And then I'm going to meet you back. We'll do the back. Okay. Now, this is the sleeve that we're working on. It is the same concept as everything I have shown you so far. But I'm going to still get you started on it because I want to get you started on every single piece. That way there's no confusion. Now, the standard size, the length for this is all the same. It's a chain of 86. It just depends on how many rows you do. But if you want your garment longer, your sleeve longer, if you have longer arms, or if you just need it longer, after you chain to 86, just keep adding multiples of 4. So 4 more, 8 more, 12 more, 16 more, and so on. Okay, so the 86, make sure it's 86, then multiples of 4 add on until you get the length. Now, it can go the opposite way. If you want it shorter, just take off multiples of 4. So instead of 86, you do 82, then 78, and then what, 74, and so forth, to get your desired length. But obviously it's going to change the count of how many clusters you have. This particular count has 21, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yes, 21 clusters, okay? Now, the nice thing about the sleeve is there's no decreases, there's no increases. It's straight granny. But now, obviously, I am using the same pattern, color pattern as her dress. I got colors similar, very, very close to hers. But you don't have to do this color combination. You can do anything that you want. So, but this is what I've chosen to do. All right, so let's get started. And just a reminder, this pattern is a lot of end weaving. For the arms, I waited till I was done to weave in the ends, but what I did is I didn't cut the ends off on each side, one of them, to remind me what's the inside versus what's the outside. That's for me. That's my little trick of knowing what I'm doing, and I don't have to think real hard about it. So here we go. We are going to chain 86. So I'm going to chain 86 and I'll be right back with you. Okay. Here is my chain of 86. So now we sixth chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. I was getting nervous in the beginning one. I'm using back loops. You do not have to do back loops, but back loops gives it a nice edge. So we're going to put 3 double crochets in. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, skip 3, and a 4th chain, put in again 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, skip 3, so in the 4th, put in 3 double crochets, and that's what you're going to do all the way down. So it's 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip 3, and the 4th one you put in 3 double crochets, all in that same one, and 3, and chain 1, skip 3, so in that 4th one put in 3 double crochets. So I'm going to have you keep doing this. I know some of this is redundant, so if you don't want to see this part, you can fast forward on doing this to help some of the people that want to see it a few times so they're okay with it, to be able to have the opportunity to see that. So I chain 1, skip 3, so in the 4th one, and 3 double crochets. And then chain 1, and then I'll meet you at the end. Okay, and here's what the first chain will look like, and just check your count, verify you have the right amount of clusters. If you're doing my count, it should be 21. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. All right, I'm doing a second row of this color, so I do not need to change my yarn yet. So what you need to do is chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you start doing your clusters right in that chain 1 space. Like I said, I know this is redundant on some of it, but I want everybody to succeed in this. So there's a cluster. Then I chain 1, then I go to the next chain 1 space, and I do another cluster. Chain 1, and a cluster in the chain 1. So I'm going to do this all the way down, and I'm going to meet you at the very last, so we can do the last one together. That way there's no problems. All right, I will meet you at the end. Okay, so now my last cluster is going to go into this gap right here. I did my 3 and a chain 1, and then you do your 3. Now remember, if you're changing colors, what I like to do is I grab the color that I'm going to be switching to. I leave a tail. I like the tails. So then what I do is I do half of the double, and I stop right there. Bring in the color I'm switching to, wrap it over my hook, and go through. Now, for articles of clothing, the first stitch, I use both strands and wrap and go through one. Then I drop the short, and then I 2, 3, and 4. The reason I do that, that helps lock in that stitch. And then I go and do my normal clusters. 1, 2, and 3. And chain 1. And the same thing all the way down that we've been doing. Now what I want to show you and go over with you one more time. Zoom you out so you're not like right on top of everything here. The rows. Now for a small you need 33 of these rows. That starts from your very first row that we did. Make sure it's not the chain, it's the clusters. Okay, so 33 rows for small, 35 rows for medium. But for the medium, the struggle that I struggled with the medium is this is 33 rows. If I did 35 rows, because each round is 11, so this is 33. If I did 35, I would end with 2 purple rows and begin with 2 purple rows. Now, it's not the end of the world. I just didn't want 4 rows of purple. And when I measured this around my arm, 33 rows fit for me. So a suggestion that I would do, instead of doing, if you're following this sequence, instead of doing 2 purples, just a thought, maybe a brown and white. That way, when you put it together, it's not 4 rows of purple. But obviously it's your choice. It's your garment, your project, your decisions, and your creativity. Yeah, creativity. You got me. Anyway, so that's my thought. So obviously you need to make 2 of these and always keep count. 20, 21. Always keep count to make sure you didn't accidentally add 1 or take 1 off. All right, we're done. The next step to this is the back. See you then. Okay, now we're done to work on the back. So the back is the same as the front with the chains. Everything that I explained how to do the chain, you do your chain of 138, and if you want the sleeve longer, you just keep adding multiples of 4. If you want it shorter, you just take off multiples of 4. All right, so I'm gonna do a switch again. Hear the fireworks going in the background. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's do one more to be good. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I add my 2. All right. Now you're going to do like I've showed you on how to do the others, 6 chain. If anybody wants to know what this is, I don't bite my nails except 1 nail, and it's ugly and I'm trying to stop, so it's a cover. So 6 chain from the hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then do a cluster. That is all fireworks in the rain. So you're going to just do a whole cluster row all the way down, and you should end with 34. Skip your 3 and the 4th one. And 3. And chain 1, 2, 3, your 4th, and cluster. Chain 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and cluster. And 3. I didn't think they could set fireworks off in the rain. But if you can hear it, they definitely can. So if that noise is bothering you, I do sincerely apologize. And cluster. So when you're down the whole row, you should end again with 134 clusters. 100, yeah. 34 clusters, everybody. How long will this dress be? All right. So to turn, what I'm going to do is turn your chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you go just like normal, like I showed you in the front. And 3. All right. So you're going to do this 13, 15, and 17. If you're doing a small, you do 13 rows. If you're doing a medium, you do 15. If you're making a large, then you do 17 rows of your 34 clusters. Again, this is for the back. Again, if you don't want to watch me crochet, you can fast forward this. You don't have to patiently wait, because I know I am not a fast crocheter. And 3. Okay. After you do your designated 13, 15, or 17 rows, now we're going to do a decrease. So you chain your 4, 2, 3, and 4. And instead of doing 34 clusters, I want you to do 33 clusters and stop. All right, I will meet you. So you stop one before you're done. I'll meet you there. Okay. So instead, you do your chain 1. Instead of doing a full cluster in that last one, all you do is a double crochet. That's it. Turn your work, chain 4, 2, 3, and 4. And then you go down, not in this gap, in the next one, and do your clusters. And again, it'll be 33 clusters, and I want you to do 20 rows of 30 clusters. Twenty rows of 20 rows of 33 clusters. Okay, and I'll meet you back. Okay, after you do, I'm pretending, your 20 rows of 33 clusters, we're going to turn, we're going to act like we're doing another row of 33 clusters, chain your 4, and you work down your row. So technically you're going to have 21 rows, but we have to do something extra at the bottom of this one like we did on the other one. So in your last spot where you put in your last cluster, I want you to put a cluster, chain 1, and then a double crochet. So here I am putting a cluster, crochet. Now you do your chain 4, 2, 3, and 4, and you put a cluster in that one chain 1 area with a chain 1 and a double crochet, and then you do normal chain 1 and cluster, and this will take it back up to your 34 count, and then again you will do either 13 rows, 15 rows, or 17 rows. 13 is for small, 15 is for medium, 17 is for large. And I can't stress enough, after you have all these panels made, it's vital, you need to block this dress for it to look proper, for it to lay right, for it to look right, for it to look crisp. You need to, or it will look wonky. Okay, so then you do your normal rows of 34 clusters again, whether it's 13, 15, or 17. All right, and that'll bring it right back up to where it was. That is how you do the back panel. So we did the front panel, we did the sleeve, and we did the back panel. So all the panels are done now. Now, if you're trying to copy off of her dress is edged in the peach. If I can find. You know, I'll be back. Okay, I wanted to show you what my blocking looks like. Over here, this side, this is the 2 sleeves. Okay, they're blocking. And it's been a couple days, so I can take them off the boards. This one here is the front of the dress. Beautiful, isn't it? Love it. And then up there, sorry, my living room, there's my doggy bed. Right up there is the back. As you can see, the collar still, the neckline still has a dip, but not as defined as the front. But I wanted to see and show you about blocking, because you know what, this dress, if you're going to put all this work into it, you really, really, really want to block it so it comes together really nice. But beautiful, isn't it? All right, let's move on. Okay, now we're going to talk about joining this dress. This part has taken me a while to really figure out. I've done some videos on what I thought I wanted, but I just didn't like it, and all the work that goes into this dress, you don't want to mess it up now. So you really need to just take your time and really seam this dress together. Trust me, you will be thrilled. I got a moose here with me today. You will be thrilled with taking your time on this. Now this is the wrong side. I did one sleeve so you could see. Now with it being, I got moose hair everywhere. I apologize. Now, can you see a little bit? Yes, a little bit, but nothing to really write home about. So this seaming method seems to be the one that I want to go with for me. I tried the single crochet seaming, I tried the whip stitch seaming, I tried multiple, and I kept doing it. Then I was taking it out, doing it, taking it out, and then it's like, you know what, I need to do a stitch where it's almost invisible. So that is the direction that I have chosen for doing this. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to get you started. I have the wrong sides. So the right sides are in here. So I have the wrong sides facing me. But make sure both of these sides here are the good sides, because when we're all done, you'll turn it right side out. So your color scheme should match up. If it don't, it's okay. It's really not. I have chosen to use the ivory color to seam this. Trying to thread my needle. There we go. All right, let me show you what I did. Now in the corners, your chains. It's a down, it's like a U, so you're gonna go down, go around, and come up. Okay. That's what you're going to do in every single stitch. So in the back, your chain, go down and come up. And you want to try to use the stitches that are farther away from you. That way you won't be able to see your seam when you turn it right side out. Okay? But if you can't all the time, it's okay. Like I said, you could see a tiny bit on my other one, and I am not stressing about it. So now you got started. So now you just go a little over from where you started. That's where I started, right here. So it's go down, and you find a stitch to come up in. All right. So again, go down. And so that's down, go around, and you always come up in another stitch. Okay, try to keep your colors together. So go down, turn around, and you come up in another stitch. So you go down in one stitch, you come up in another. Go down, around, and you come up. And that is how you do this. Down. And if I'm going to come up in the next one, that's what I want to do on this next side. So I'm going to come down, I'm going to come up and around. And after you do a few stitches, you want to tighten that up. Okay, so you do a few, tighten, do a few, tighten, and that is how you do this. Okay, so you're going to do this for both sides of the dress, the top, and then the sleeves. Now remember, wrong side. I'm doing it wrong. All right. Making sure I didn't mess up. And look, I did. So I'm going to have to take that out. But that's really okay. This is how you do the seam. But you've got to always check to make sure you're working on the wrong side. So anyway, for the sleeves, you take your sleeve. Let me zoom you out a little bit. I love when I make little errors doing these videos and I don't delete them, because I want you to see that I'm human too. I make mistakes. I have to rip stuff out. It happens. So to do your sleeve, you're going to do the same stitches. Make sure you're on the wrong side. Your center point meets your center point of where you just seamed. My center point happens to be here. Okay, so if I were you and you were me, take a stitch marker or a pin and mark that. And then mark where it's going to end down here and where it's going to end down here. That way it don't get wonky on you. And you're doing the exact same stitch that I showed you here. All right. So remember, it's like a U. You go down and around and up. And you do that on both sides, down, around, and up. This will give you a seam that you can't see, or it's 95% invisible, which is perfect. So I'm going to seam on the arms, take this out and do this right. And then we're going to come back and we're going to fold the dress, and all you have to do is seam the arms up and down the dress, and then I'll show you how we do the edging. And that is it. All right. So while you're doing this part, please take your time. This is not a race. This was a lot of work, and yarn is not cheap. Crafting is not cheap. Do this good. Take your time, and I can't wait to see your color designs. All right, we'll be back. Okay, here we are. Now, I folded it in half. The arms are on, attached. See how pretty this seaming is? It's a lot better than any other way that I have found. So now, after you fold this, you need to do the bottom, but make sure it's inside out. This is not inside out right now. And you will do the bottom, and you should start. Make sure you start. And since this side is all brown, I'm going to use brown yarn. And then probably for the arm, since it's two different colors, see, like here, I can do the purple or the peach or even white, but I'll probably stick with the peach. But it's up to you how you want to do it, but make sure you start from the bottom and you work your way up, and make sure you have these marked properly, because you don't want it to go wonkers while you're doing it. That would just be a nightmare. So the seaming of the two sides, I would strongly recommend first. I want to quick show you what I'm going to do for this neckline, because this here, that's rough. That's not pretty. That's that's rough. So what I'm going to do, but remember, you seam the sides of the dress and the armpits. So I'm going to start in the back and turn the wrong side out again, like I should. There we go. So it's wrong sides out, and I have the back of the dress facing me. This is how I'm going to do the collars. Now, I tried slip stitching all the way around. I didn't like it. For me, this dress has been so much work and so much time. I just want the finished product to show how much I put into it. So what I have found is this. Do a slip knot, and you just attach in one of these gaps. Put on your yarn, tighten your slip knot, bring it through, and just do a chain. Well, not a chain, a slip stitch right there. Chain one. Now you're going to go through the whole thing, and you're just going to do 2 single crochets in every gap. That's it. 2 single crochets in every gap. You could do 3. I'm thinking maybe you could do 3. Let's see what, let's do this together. 1, 2, and 3. Then you go to the next gap. 1, 2, 3. No chaining. Okay. Next gap. One. Yep, I like 3. 3 gives it that edging, and it doesn't look like it's pulling. So I am going to do 3 single crochets in every gap, not in the sides of the clusters. Okay. I wouldn't recommend, this is just a little stubby thing that I didn't get. I would not recommend hiding your tails in this edging. It's on a show, and it's just not going to look nice. But when you're doing these, take your time. And 3. There we go. And then 3. And 3. All right. This is what I'm going to suggest for it. You can play around with the numbers and see what you like. See what seems to work best for you. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Because you want to look uniform. This is me trying 4. This way you guys can get a sense of all your choices. That's just a tail that I'll weave in. And here's 4 here. 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 4. Let me do one more, and then I'll stop and I'll show you. 1, 2, 3, and 4. It gives it this little, almost like a scallop edging around it. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Yep, 4 each. You probably could even sneak 5 in to make it a little more defined. Let's have fun with this. 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to do a double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And 5. 4 and 5. if we turn it right side out. Do you like it or not? I don't. So that being said, let's do this together. Let's try something else. So that was a single crochet. Chain one. Now you can just do, you can try slip stitches. No, that's not going to work going around it. And I did try slip stitches going in the stitches here. Let me show you. As you can see, some of these stitches I'm doing a couple slip stitches in it to try to keep it from buckling. All right. Now, this is the slip stitch. I don't like it. Nope. All right. So I've showed you a choice of single crochet. I've shown you slip stitches. So another option 3. I keep wanting to revert back to single crochet. See what I keep doing? So, and I think I'm going to put more in them. I think I did 6. I think that's the winner, but I'm going to do it on the right side. So I'm going to put, let me show you. See, I like being able to show you guys choices so you guys can figure out what you like and what works for you. Chain 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, I go to the next one. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now these are half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That is going to make a very pretty color. And when you get in these, you just keep doing them. You do one here, you do one here. That's if this is what you want. You can do this single crochet, you can do the slip stitch, you can do anything. And so I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom around it, and then again on the sleeves. So I'm uniform. These are half doubles. I'm choosing to do 8 in each gap. So next time you see me, I'm going to have these done. The seaming of the dress will be complete. And I know this isn't what I initially had in my brain when we were going to do it, but I like this. This is really going to make it pop. All right, Taylor Swift's dress were all slip stitches. If you want exactly like her, they were all slip stitches. And if you're going to do the slip stitch, you have to have the dress on the right side facing you to do the slip stitch. If you do it with it turned inside out, it's not going to look right. So, but be warned. Let's say, be warned if you're going to do the slip stitch. you want to go in your stitches. You don't want to miss too many spaces between each one. Going in every gap. That you can find to do your slip stitch. Okay, but like I said, I'm doing the 8 half double crochets. I think it's going to give it a little bit of a wow factor. But that is the dress, everybody. So I'm going to come back when I'm all done. Okay, everybody, here is our final product. It's not hanging completely straight, but there she is. Turned out absolutely gorgeous. After much debate in my brain with the collar, I went with 2 single crochets in each gap, and I'm glad I did. I love it. And I did the same thing for the sleeves, both sleeves, and then the bottom. But there she is, all beautiful. I am excited. Let me turn it around so you guys can see everything. Look at that. All that. Gorgeous. I'm so happy. What a project. Figuring everything out was such a challenge, but a rewarding challenge. So let's see yours. Post them on our page. All right. Have fun. This is Ronnie. I work with Maggie and Lauren to bring you fun crochet videos, and it's always a work in progress here.